place we call home, and the people we call friends, neighbors, and most importantly, family. The governor said, "The past is history, the present is the dawn of the future, and it is to the future we look, and that future will be what we make it." This very month, New Mexico celebrates our 100th anniversary as a state. It is an amazing time to be a New Mexican. Our collective history has brought us to this day, a moment in time that will define us for generations to come. New green industries are joining oil and gas and ranching as economic leaders, and the jobs they create are creating money on Main Street from Raton to Roswell. Yet there are far too many New Mexicans struggling to get by. There are far too many of our children who go hungry at night, and far too many of our parents and grandparents who are worried about making it through the month without access to critical community services. And there are far too many college graduates saddled with monumental debt who are leaving for jobs out of state if they can find a job at all. We have 30 days this session, 30 days to focus on New Mexico's families, and nothing should be off the table when it comes to addressing their most critical needs. We must preserve our most vital public services, like education and public safety, without sacrificing our sacred land and water. And we must do so in a way that protects New Mexico's middle class. We must pass legislation that creates incentives for companies to hire New Mexicans and expand their workforce. In the simplest of terms, we must invest in our children and foster an environment of economic growth that helps every New Mexican have a chance at the American dream. To begin, Democrats are proposing a constitutional amendment to expand early childhood education. The Democratic approach allows us to invest in early childhood education programs which prepare our children to succeed in school and contribute to the workforce without increasing taxes on hardworking New Mexicans. In last year's State of the State address, our governor said, "Telling children that they are not capable of achieving is morally wrong." She was right, but her rhetoric has been different. New Mexico's education crisis continues to deepen, demonizing New Mexico's classroom teachers. And new proposals to label our schools as failing does nothing to help the students enrolled in them, and only adds another stigma to our most vulnerable students who are already facing tremendous hurdles to success. A year ago, our governor promised to preserve classroom funding. Today, more than 2,400 New Mexican teachers are out of work, and students are packed into classrooms with more than 40 other students. Her attacks on teachers who are dedicated to educating our children, and the drive to have government, not teachers and parents, decide whether a child should pass the 3rd grade, have led New Mexicans to be disenchanted by this governor's idea of education reform. Democrats will work to ensure that every proposal to address education puts every child in New Mexico first. In her first State of the State address, our governor said, quote, "Politicians have treated taxpayer money as their own and rewarded cronies. Decisions have been made to benefit the powerful and the connected, while New Mexico families pay the price." Again, she was right, but unfortunately for New Mexicans, her actions don't match up with her rhetoric. Recently, the governor personally directed millions of taxpayer dollars in state fair contracts to political donors with connections to the governor and her allies. And it doesn't stop there. The administration has spent countless hours allowing lobbyists to rewrite environmental laws, but the lower regulations didn't create a single new job for New Mexicans. Only more corporate profits and certainly larger campaign contributions. They have slashed critical jobs in the Department of Education only to reward out-of-state contractors with no-bid contracts. Thankfully for New Mexicans, the governor's illegal attempts to assault the environment, manipulate labor law, and end unemployment insurance were stopped by the Supreme Court. Now, New Mexico's families and small businesses that support them should not bear the consequences of political grandstanding or calculation. That is why Democrats will once again push to close tax loopholes for out-of-state corporations and provide real tax credits for small Main Street businesses which hire New Mexicans. Make no mistake, the #1 task of Democrats this session will be creating jobs and growing the economy. And we've already begun to introduce bills to get that job done. Now, the governor tries very hard to claim credit for the economic recovery created by local governments around this state and President Obama's efforts to put Americans back to work. But New Mexicans aren't buying it. She claims to support both parties working together, and yet turns around and claims an economic recovery that was years in the making under the leadership of a Democratic president and a Congress. They didn't do it alone, and no one believes that this governor did either. Now, nothing is more sacred than our right to vote. Democrats are committed to fight to preserve the right to vote for every legal voter in New Mexico. Sadly, our governor does not share that enthusiasm. Despite months of investigations and countless public dollars spent on the governor's personal political obsession, only one illegal vote was found in New Mexico. Nevertheless, the governor remains obsessed with this issue and with the issue of driver's licenses for foreign nationals. Now, saying you're willing to compromise doesn't make it so. And this governor's idea of compromise is my way or no way at all. Now, that's not compromise at all. As we have before, we will offer a compromise bill that will focus on public safety. It's tough on lawbreakers, will help law enforcement keep track of who is on our streets, and has the support of a wide majority of New Mexicans. It is time we distinguish between policies that protect us from people trying to do harm to our communities and mean-spirited policies targeting political enemies or people that you just don't like. We should be able to have civil disagreements without demonizing whole segments of our population or creating racially charged environments that do more to harm this state than to keep it safe. But the governor's policies and lack of leadership do not allow for that. Unfortunately, over the past year, our governor has given us far too much partisan grandstanding and not nearly enough action. In 2011, the legislature passed bipartisan legislation to audit every tax credit in New Mexico for its job creation impact and to ensure that our state's unemployment fund would be preserved so that New Mexican families who found themselves without a job through no fault of their own could continue to pay their bills until another job came along. Yet in each case, the governor ignored those bipartisan compromises and vetoed bills passed with the support of both Democrats and Republicans. Now, the campaign ended a long time ago, Governor. A year has passed, yet New Mexicans have been served up and continue to be served up, as this latest State of the State proves, endless political rhetoric, and we are no better off for it. Santa Fe should do and can do better than Washington. No one person or party should stand in the way of the right ideas for political gain. This new session offers a chance to end partisan politics in New Mexico, a chance to put communities ahead of corporate profits, and certainly a chance to put kids ahead of politics. With just 30 days to work, there is no time to waste. In closing, let me say on behalf of Democrats all over the state, our heartfelt and very undying love for Speaker Lujan. I cannot express, certainly, almost a heartbreak I felt, as many Democrats did, to hear about his medical condition. But we are honored by his service to our state. We are honored by his presence here, and certainly we count on his leadership. And we ask all New Mexicans to keep Speaker Lujan and the Lujan family in their prayers as they go forward and deal with this medical issue. For that, thank you all very much. God bless New Mexico.